Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into the 8th instalment of the GWV Christmas Countdown. So here we go again, it's time to bring you more Christmas data. We're up to update number 8 with our Christmas updates, and I shall get on back for you in a moment. Just to say that the first video is saying was our 6 AM UK weather forecast, and at the same time, because I messed it all up this morning, or rather last night when I uploaded the video, we actually released the EC30 day, so that was released around 4 hours ahead of schedule this morning at 6 AM rather than like 10 AM. But never mind, these things happen, don't they? Everybody makes mistakes, especially Gav. Though anybody who was around at 6 AM this morning, they had a nice surprise. They had 2 videos unexpectedly pop up. And then after that, this afternoon, we released our 10 to 14 day. So please like, share, subscribe on all today's videos and content. Thank you so much for doing that. We're ending today's epic content with your 8th Christmas update, and I should get on with that for you in a moment. I just want to say thank you so to Richard for our amazing Gav's weather-viz Christmas updates gift. Thank you so much, Rich. I love it. Like Christmas card scene. Thank you so much, my friend. One of the best you've ever done. Thank you so much for the amazing Richard Shaw. Okay, so again, we're going to be looking at CFS B212Z run. Let's go over to Mr. Seller.fr. Why not do that? And as I say, we're looking at the CFS B212Z run. So we've been looking at the CFS 12Z throughout this season of Christmas updates. Reason being, because we can make a direct comparison then back to previous updates and see if we've got a trend. We have had a trend, actually, that's emerged in the last 2 or 3 updates, which have been towards a cold, not a cold Christmas, what I'm talking about, a mild and generally showery Christmas, possibly cold on either side. No, it hasn't been cold flirting around on either side, but the last 3 updates, I think, generally been towards the milder and more showery end of things. We'll see what update number 8 has to say in a second. Just to say that we are looking for trends at the moment. We cannot tell you what weather we'll be doing at 3 PM on Christmas afternoon because it's much too far away. No, we're only looking for the trend within the CFS model. And just because you get a trend, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right trend. So we have to keep that in mind as well. The CFS can get the wrong trend, as it did a couple of years ago, when it was actually trending towards a colder crystal. We ended up mild. Anyway, we'll get on with the 8th Christmas update for you now. So we're starting off on the 1st of December with low pressure way to the east, high pressure out to the west. We're bringing a wind from a rather chilly northwesterly direction. So quite a cold start to December. And this layer of low pressure coming in on the 2nd, that might deliver a little bit of snow into more southern parts of the country. However, beyond that, we begin to establish an Atlantic flow. So as we go further on through the first week of December, it starts to turn milder, wetter and windier, with this area of low pressure beginning to come in from off the Atlantic. Right, well, let's move on then. 2nd week of December. So we're up to 7th of December now, up to the end of the first week, looking rather stormy there, wet, winding, with this big area of low pressure sweeping in from off, as being a lot of heavy rain and potentially some very strong winds as well. Notice that low is going on a northwest southeast trajectory, though, so it's not going in its typical southwest to northeast path, but it's going on a northwest to southeast path. Reason being, there's heights rising over Scandinavia, forcing low pressure and trajectory onto northwest southeast line. So if you get to the 9th of December, into the 2nd week above, actually you start to build up a bit of a Scandinavian high there and begin to pull colder air in from the east. So that starts to establish an easterly flow, and that could bring in some snow showers, actually. Yeah, it's quite cold to the east, so snow showers could be coming in on those easy winds there around the 9th, 10th of December. So becoming colder through the 2nd week of the month with a Scandinavian high. Mostly anticyclonic, but possibly a few wintry flurries at times, particularly for eastern regions. And as we approach the middle part of December, we start to revert back to more of a southwest. So the high pressure of Scandinavia begins to slip southwards, low pressure in the Atlantic starts to bring in something a little bit milder from off the Atlantic. We do get a few days of colder weather there. Now into the middle of December, looking milder, wetter and windier then. High pressure slips southwards with a re-established Atlantic flow, turning milder around the middle part of December, but also quite unsettled as well. However, we start running up towards the Christmas period, and high pressure then begins to pull out to our west, with again heights rising over Scandinavia. So that's a repeating pattern on this 8th Christmas update. So that's the 20th of December, all looking quite interesting there. We've got a ridge out to our west and over Scandinavia. We're bringing in a wind from more of a northerly direction, so certainly staying cold, and probably cold enough for some wintry showers in more eastern areas. 21st of December, high pressure starts to reach through the country, moves up towards Scandinavia again. Very, very cold air is sitting across much of Central and Eastern Europe as well. So if we could get wind into the east, it would be game on for a very cold Christmas. Is this Christmas update going to do it? Well, that's the 22nd of December. I have to say, that looks really interesting, considering we look like 2 or 3 days away from Christmas. That is a very, very interesting chart. We've got high pressure through the country and going up to Scandinavia. Winds are coming in from a gentle easterly direction, but probably enough of an easterly flow to produce snow showers into the south and southeast. And notice very, very cold air again is sitting across much of the continent. Now, is this going to get us into a proper easterly for Christmas? Won't that be fun? So this is Christmas Eve, 23rd of December. The heights still there Scandinavia, but beginning to ease southward. So it looks like it'll be a near miss, actually, this. So this is very cold, though, this area of high pressure. It would be producing a lot of frost and a very seasonal feel as we approach Christmas. But the snowy conditions, that's further south into the continent. So much of France, for example, even into northern parts of Spain, with those easterly winds, I reckon there will be snow pushing through there. Obviously, Germany, Poland, into the Balkans as well. You would expect quite a lot of snow on those easterly winds, and really heavy rain, by the way, down across southern parts of Spain and North Africa. For us, we're under the high pressure, so we're not getting snow there, but it would be cold. It would be frosty, probably freezing fog coming through with that as well. Now, this is Christmas Eve. The high pressure holds on in Christmas Eve. Nothing's happened to stir up the atmosphere. So while it's not snowy, it would be cold and frosty there on Christmas Eve. A very seasonable feeling Christmas Eve for once. And then this is Christmas Day. The ridge, the high pressure continues into Christmas Day, holds on, although central is slipping over towards the far eastern side of Europe, but nevertheless we're still under the ridge, so it would still be cold, and maybe a little bit more of an easy flow, possibly bringing a few snow flows into the southeast actually, but of course that's too far away for that kind of detail. But it's a very different Christmas update, by the way. As I say, the trend over past 3 has been generally westerly, mildish and showery, so this is dry, cold and frosty for Christmas on this 8th update, telling us about we have got a different scenario playing out. So cold and frosty for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. That's Boxing Day, probably still cold and frosty for southern and eastern regions anyway. The north and west looking a little bit milder as more of a southwesterly wind starts to re-establish. And as we go into the no-rest between Christmas and New Year, then we start to return back to an Atlantic flow. So low pressure bed comes in off the Atlantic. It starts to turn milder, wetter and windier as we go through into the end of the year. And we get to New Year. So this is New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. Looking very mild then. High pressure over France, Spain, Portugal. Low pressure out to the northwest. And winds wafting up from that southwesterly direction from the Azores, maybe, and from the Canary Islands. So that'll be a very, very mild start to 2024. We go on through the first week of January, still keeping it generally mild with high pressure south, low pressure away to the north and the west, and that pattern keeps up actually as we carry on towards the middle of the month. And the only difference is that we start to ramp up the Atlantic. So look at all of these purple colours beginning to appear to our north. That is the polar vortex on steroids there. If the CFS is right, really putting its foot on the gas as far as the Atlantic is concerned. So it's turning very stormy through the second week of January. Very wet, windy, stormy conditions. And those Atlantic lows, the onslaught keeps on coming then right the way up to 23rd January. We won't go any further than that. But suffice to say, after quite an interesting descent with often, high pressure and cyclonic blocking conditions, January is very, very different. And looks wet, windy, stormy, but overall pretty mild. Okay, so that's your 8th Christmas update. Very different update, this one, telling us about the train we had for the past 3 updates, which was generally showery and mildish, has been abandoned on this one. And Christmas itself is looking actually dry, cold and frosty. So, and just before Christmas, we do have a shot at Scandinavian High. It doesn't come up on this particular CFS run, but always interesting to see those heights rising over Scandinavia, especially close to Christmas. Right, so that's it for 8 update. The 9th Christmas in sort of Christmas Countdown will be released on Thursday. Same time, same place. So I shall see you then for that one. But for the 8th Christmas update, make sure to Richard for the year. For the 8th Christmas update, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.